if you've ever stared at a blank page, brush in hand, and thought, what's the point? You're not alone. Today I'm going to show you how to turn even the smallest, loosest painting into a little gift that brings joy to you and someone else. So let's get started. It's definitely true that one of the hardest things in painting is actually getting started. And my idea today is to help you to get started by showing you a couple of ways of doing something that's going to make somebody else's life better. It's going to bring a smile to somebody else's face, and at the same time, it's going to bring a smile to yours as well. Now, a lot of us think that our art is basically worthless, and this is getting worse and worse by the day with AI and all the rest of it. And that's because perhaps we think, well, we can't sell our art, so it's therefore worthless. But the thing is, it's not the product, it's not the painting that you've done that matters. Actually, it's the process and the intention that's behind what you've done or what you're doing. And I know this is going to be quite difficult to explain, so I hope you're going to bear with me. But one of my most precious possessions are the collection of bookmarks that I've acquired over the years from people. And I just wanted to show you, there's a big stack of them here. Not all of these were given to me, but most of them were. And I'm just going to kind of go through them. Some of these were sent to me by people who watch our channel. This one has got a date on the back, 2002. This was from somebody I used to be very fond of, so I still have that. This one's from Emily. She's one of our wonderful people. This is my daughter who gave me that. This one was from a friend I had 25 years ago when I lived in England. She used to come to my art group and she gave me several lovely cards. They've stayed with me all these years, which is amazing. It still looks as good as ever. This is her own calligraphy. And, you know, the thing is, these things can mean an awful lot to people. And certainly they do to me. And, you know, I wouldn't throw these away ever. So anyway, I just want to say that if you make somebody a bookmark, don't think that it's just going to go in the garbage. It'll make them smile, they'll put it somewhere and they'll keep it. And I have, as I say, I've got those to prove the point. So today, first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to do, oh, there's another one. We're going to do a quick warm-up, and I'm going to show you a technique in this warm-up that you may not have learned from me, although I have done it before many times, but it's a good way of doing a quick warm-up. So I'll just put a board down here, put my paper on there. This is just a piece of, what is this? This is Bockingford. So that's cellulose paper. It's nothing special. And I'm going to be using my, just a second. I'm going to be using my Kuretake paints. Just tuck my t-shirt into my waistband there so it doesn't flap all over the place. So I've got my Kuretake paints here. I've also got some acrylic markers here. These ones are Artex. They're very good. They're better than a lot. They're actually really interesting to use. I've got my pot of various and assorted different, you know, fine liners and silver and gold and all the rest of it, pencils and all the rest of those things are here ready to hand, which is the way it should be. I'm working in a space of about 1 square meter here. So from where you see my hand here to where you see my hand here, that's about 2 feet. And then there's a little bit more either side that you can't see. But so, you know, you don't need a massive amount of space in order to paint. This is the thing. So I'll take a brush here. This is Princeton size 8 Aqua Elite. I keep saying I should try and get some of their other ones, but it's getting harder to get American things. It's not fair. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to paint a few leaves on a stem. This is something I like to do. So, you know, when I do it, it makes me happy. It makes me happy. So let's just put some water on. If you look at it from the side, you can see where the water's going. So we're not worried too much about the shape because these leaves are going to be just relaxing leaves. It says, leave me alone. Ha ha, leave me alone. Right, so we've got our water on there. Now, what colour green are we going to use? In the Kuretake set here, we've got lots of greens. We don't have to worry about mixing up the green if we don't want to. So I could go to the Viridian here, which doesn't look anything like most of the leaves that we see around us, but we don't care. So we just pick up some of that from the pan, and I put a little dish here to mix in, and then I'm going to drop my paint into my wet water, and then when I've done that, I'll show you what I'm going to do next. All right, so that's my Viridian, and I actually really don't know exactly what's going to happen here, but I'm trying this out. So this is obviously flowing, right? So now I'm going to take some of a different color. This is sap green light, and I'm going to join in, and I'm going to go loosely, take my stem up loosely, because that way you get a much more natural looking result. That's the idea anyway. And then you can tip your paper like this so that the leaves all fill up. Okay. Ooh, look at that. That's a big one. Just make him a bit more pointed. You can make small adjustments if it doesn't want to go as far as you want it to go. Just adjust it slightly. Okay. And look what a wonderful, loose, soft and gentle leaf you've created in literally seconds without any effort whatsoever. And you can add to the green of the stem if you want to. You can put some more green in there and give it another wingle wongle, but I would be inclined to leave that like that, and you can put it to one side and watch it dry. If you feel, and you might, just a second, that you've got a little bit too much water up the top here, just touch it with a piece of paper towel and it will suck it up like magic, okay? And it won't affect the effect. Just dry a bit quicker. So there we are. So that's my warm-up for the day. I'm happy with that. I think that looks really nice. So the next thing we're going to do now, we're going to carry on, and I'm feeling very relaxed now, and I'm full of smiles and everything's wonderful. Just realised it's August the 9th. And August the 9th was my father's birthday. He's no longer with us, of course. He would have been about 102 by now. But happy birthday, Dad, wherever you are. Right, so let's make a bookmark. I'm going to make a cat bookmark, something like these here. This is just some trial ones I did earlier. And I'm going to paint it on a piece of card that is, oh, I think I am anyway. Am I going to put it on here? This looks like it's the last piece of a big sheet that was cut out to make bookmarks. So I'll use that. I'll just get some washi tape to hold it down. I'll just put that up the top. And down the bottom, just to keep it in place. Down, boy. Down. Right, stay. Oh, washi tape. You know what I should have done? I should have grabbed my magic tape, which is so much better. But anyway, we've done that. So that's that. Right, that should stay in place. I'm not making too much of a song and dance about this. We have a little bit of pencil lines down there, but I'll leave that for now. For this one, we can go one of two ways. We can either draw it first and paint it, you know, colour it in, or we can do it the other way around. I think I'll probably draw it first because it's easier to show you what I'm doing. If I do that, I'll find a pencil and sharpen it. I almost always sharpen my pencils before I start the drawing. It doesn't have to take very long. Okay, so let's do a cat on a hill, and we'll just draw the hill in here like this, and then we'll put push the cat here. And an easy way to paint a cat is just to paint a egg shape, right? And you can put his tail either side, doesn't matter. And you can make his tail a funny shape. Then at the top of your egg, somewhere near the level of his tail, just give him 2 points for his ears. And then we can draw in some nice big eyes. You notice that that wasn't actually a mistake. I just changed my mind about where I was going to put the eyes. We put them fairly high, I think, and fairly close together. And then we'll come in with a pen later to do his features. So we do that, and I would like to give him some feet. And then we can put a little plant here. And from the top, I think it's quite a nice idea to put in some leaves. So a bit like the ones that we've already just done. So we'll have some leaves tumbling down. And I'm not going to bother to fix these to anything, so they'll just tumble down. Okay. And you could make him sort of looking upwards, so he's watching to see if any birds come down with those leaves. Okay, so this is super simple, super simple. If you look on our website, dianeantone.com, you will find lots of designs for bookmarks like this and other subjects, obviously not just cats, all sorts, and lots of ideas for cards. And that's what we're going to do next after we've done this one. So first of all, we will paint this, and I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll put the water into the leaves. So this will be a purpose for what we just learnt, is to paint these leaves that are coming down from the sky. I'm not going to bother about a background. We'll just keep it nice and simple. When you come to do this one, you'll obviously choose your own colours and your own design and everything. So don't worry too much if you haven't got the same colours that I've got here. You can use whatever you happen to have. I'm just loosening up some paint and putting it here for 3 different colours, perhaps, and maybe a brownish colour, perhaps. Doesn't want to be too dark, something like that. And then I'll just drop in the colour into the watery area. And a couple of darkish ones, and then some brighter ones. Make them all different colours. Since this wants to pop up, I'm going to pop it up anyway and just move my paint around. I don't really need to fix it, do I? Where's my cloth? Oh. So we just make that paint fill out into our leaves. And we're going to go over them with pen after we've finished. So these ones are quite nice and soft. You might want to make them a bit darker, or, you know, they could be, I might add a little bit more dark green to them if I can make this work. Come on, wake up. And we'll let that move around. I don't know what paper this is, but it's not running very well. So this is a very good example of why you want to use good quality paper. I have a feeling this might not be 100% cotton. It doesn't seem to be running very well, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. Nothing matters. So we're going to paint our Pushti cat in a kind of ginger color, perhaps, but quite pale. And just paint his tail and his body in light brown. Try not to paint over his eyes, ideally. But his nose and mouth, it doesn't matter. So we just spread that colour out like that. And then I think I'll do what I did in the other one, was to have a quite nice brown for the hill that he's sitting on. And I won't let it touch his feet if I can help it. Yes, there we are. So just put that in kind of rough, with a rough edge down the bottom. Okie doke, okie doke. Now I need to wait for him to dry. The whole thing needs to wait until it dries, and then we can come in with the pen and do the next thing, and also his colour on his body. So I'm going to use the hairdryer. Doesn't take long to dry. So the same colour that I used for his body, and I'll put some stripes on him or her, and on the feet, and then maybe some stripes on the tail. Some colour in his ears as well. Well, and I'm going to put in darker brown, just put some pattern on here. Right, so now I'll get my pen. This is a 0.3 micron, any black fine liner obviously will do. So now we'll come up to our leaves, and I'm going to just put veins and an outline on all these leaves. It's a lovely idea someone suggested to me a while ago. Supposing you've bought somebody a book for a present, and actually I want to just in brackets here say, I know that reading real books has gone out of fashion quite a lot recently, and people, they say they're reading a book when actually they're listening to it on Audible or something, or reading it on Kindle, so they don't need bookmarks. But I have a feeling there's going to be a bit of a backlash to all of this computer business. I have a feeling that the human spirit is going to rise up and rebel and say, no more, give me a book. I'm reading at the moment, I'm reading The Hobbit. I don't know if any of you have read The Hobbit. It's a children's book. And I read it to my children when I was at university. I had 2 kids when I went to university. They were like probably 6 and 9 or something like that. And we were living in university accommodation. We had a tiny, tiny little apartment that we'd been allocated by the university. We were lucky to get that. 1 room, 1 bedroom, 1 room. And so the children slept in a bunk bed at one end of this tiny bedroom, and we had our bed at the other end of the room. And it was funny, one night I remember, I'll come back to the book in a minute. One night I remember Tamsin had a bad dream, and she fell out of bed, and the room was so small. When she fell out of her bunk bed up the top, just drawing the eyes in here, he's looking up and saying, "Oh my goodness." The bed was so close to our bed that she fell onto our legs, and we woke up with a huge start, suddenly finding this 6-year-old child on our feet. It was very funny. Anyway, so I do remember really well that I used to read them bedtime stories even at that age, and I was reading them The Hobbit when that happened, which was, I thought, quite funny. Anyway, yes, so whenever you buy somebody a book, and I heartily suggest that this is something that people should do. I've always bought people books for presents. I don't care if they take them to the thrift shop. At least I've done my job. Just going over these stones here with little spirals. Put a bookmark in that you've painted that has something to do with the subject of the book, you know. So if you buy a gardening book for a friend, paint a bookmark with some flowers on. It's such a good idea. So there we are. That's that done. That's all we need to do. You can put another couple of leaves in if you want a few more. This one, for example, has got more leaves coming down. Oh yes, and that's a good idea. On this one, I had put little circles in there as well to fill in the gaps. So this is pollen falling down. And we could do a couple of smaller ones here as well, perhaps. Make them shaped a little bit like hearts. I think that's quite nice. And just put a little bit, a little bit more colour in those ones. And there's lots more things that you could do with that. All you really need to do now, though, is punch a hole in the top and put a string through there, and Bob's your uncle. So, Uncle Bob, there you go. Next thing we're going to do that we could give to somebody for a nice little, there doesn't have to be any reason for this, you know. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be Christmas or birthday or Easter or anything, as if there aren't enough festivals to celebrate anyway, but it doesn't have to be any of those. Another thing that you can do, which is nice, is like this. My daughter, as you well know, Tamsin, is the most wonderful person, and she always gives me a card, handmade card for my birthday. She has done this for years, even though she claims not to be an artist. I mean, sometimes I just want to say to her, listen to your mother for once. Anyway, and she always says, I do listen to your mother. Yeah, and the next bit is unsaid. Anyway, so she's lovely. So this was September 2023. She gave me this, and on the top here on the front, this is a painting that she's done with using resist. I think she's used resist, probably wax, but she could have used the pen that is available that wasn't before, this one here. She could have used this, a masking writer. This would be perfect for doing something like this. It's easier than using a crayon. To just draw a random abstract pattern and then just abstractly, randomly put colours on. This is like acorns, because my birthday's in September, so by then the acorns are starting to ripen. Lord, help me to live this day quietly, easily, to lean upon thy great strength, trustfully, restfully, to wait for the unfolding of thy will, patiently, serenely, to meet others peacefully, joyously, to face tomorrow confidently and courageously, which is lovely, isn't it? And so that's that. And then on the inside, she's left me a message there. That was from St. Francis of Assisi. And she did buy me the St. Francis that's outside on the patio out there, which decorates the space there beautifully. And St. Francis is my favourite saint, would be, wouldn't he? Patron saint of animals. So this lives close by. This is actually on one of the shelves in my studio. And we're going to do something of a similar ilk today, just a little card that you can give to somebody that you love. If I can find a piece of paper, that would be useful, wouldn't it? So we'll take a piece of this, which is approximately 8, I don't know, how big is it? 7 by 5, just under. And we're going to want to fold it in half before we start. So I think the best thing to do is to mark the midway point 7 1/4, so that'll be 3 1/2 plus an eighth, which is 3 5/8, isn't it? 3 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Does that look about right? I'm going to do it in centimetres. That is 9 1/4, and it's 18 1/2, so that's approximately right. That'll do. That'll do. And then to make it easier to fold, so that you get a good fold, you can put your ruler like that, and then you take a bone folder. Just a sec. Or a knife. I can't find my bone folder, which I can't. I think this will probably do. This is a little tool that Meeden sent us to detach the top page from the pad, the block of paper. So anyway, I think this will do. So just run that down there, so it kind of makes an indentation, and then with any luck, it'll fold more readily along that line. So there we are. That was easier, wasn't it? So now we've got our card that we're going to paint. I'll open it out so that it doesn't keep going sprawling. And the design that I'm going to do is going to be something along these lines. This is one of our whimsical birds. And this is going to be, I hope, well, it will be, all being well, featured on our custom box that we're making with Meeden for the autumn and Christmas. So you have that to look forward to as well. Now, this is another animal on a hill. As you can see, he's standing on a little hill. And so we'll draw the little hill first, and then we'll draw the bird. We want him to fill the whole space, so probably best to kind of mark roughly where your top wants to be. So his tail is going to want to come up to here, kind of thing. And then somewhere in the middle, I'm going to do a circle. It's a simple bird, a circular bird. Just a circle. Doesn't have to be a very round circle. Any kind of circle will do. And then we're going to put a little beak on here, and we could make him chirp if you want. He's saying hello. And then we'll put his eye here, quite close to his mouth. If you don't like the way that looks, you can change it. So you could rub out that, and you could do another part of his beak there. You can rub out the whole thing until you get it right. Do that like that, and his eye, doesn't really matter. And then do a nice big wing, like a comma, sort of, and then a tail coming up there, and some legs. Start the legs, I suggest, I know not everyone agrees with me, I suggest his legs should start towards the back, because that's what real birds have. So we just have a sort of gesture towards reality there. And we'll draw little flowers here. And he has got a similar flower, or she has got a flowery hat. Now, next thing then is to decide what size brush to use. I'm going to use a slightly smaller one, I think. I think I might do it the same sort of colour. So we'll pick up a bit of orange. That's a cheerful colour. Another idea, of course, I can talk about this while I'm doing this. Another idea, as well as the cards and the bookmarks, there's lots of other things you can give to people to brighten their day. Of course, you can do something that's really nice, I think, is a little mini painting. just a little sort of 3 by 3 or even 2.5 by 2.5 inches, little mini painting like this, but just, go to the thrift store and find a nice little frame, something light that you can pop in the post. All of these things can easily be posted, mailed. Even today, you can still use the post, even though they might not want you to. You can. So that's another idea. And then, of course, there's the famous gift tags for Christmas and birthdays and so on, which is also nice. I always keep those as well. Sometimes I reuse them for the next year. If it's my husband, I don't have any qualms about that. Now we're going to give him a nice green tail. The beauty about using these Kuretake paints as your go-to set of paints is that I'm just going to try not to touch, because I know it's wet. You can use them thick or thin. You can either use them as watercolors by using plenty of water, or you can use them as I am here with a more gouache type effect by using much less water. And that gives them a lot of flexibility, really. But if you happen to make a mistake with these paints, you can paint over it reasonably easily. Now I am going to have to dry that, so I'll do that. So there's something to be said for these acrylic markers if you want to do fairly bright but small petals, for example, like this. These ones, their nib is fairly sort of chunky, so it's not ideal for this. This is a bit small for this particular pen, but nevertheless, it is easier than using a brush. And I'm going to give her a green beak. I will use a brush for that because I don't think that I can do it with the pen at all. So let's just come in and hope that I can make this pointed beak work. But if you've got a set of coloured pens, oh, you could use pencil actually. So there we are, that will do. And now we're going to switch to our other pens here. So let me find this one here. No, I'll tell you what, I'll do the eye first so she doesn't look weird any longer. So I'm going to just leave a little bit of a white line. Okay, that'll do. And then this pen to give her eyelashes. Okay, and then we're going to go all the way around her wing. Like that, and around her body as well, and her tail. I'm going to put some embellishments on that. And I'm going to do some, like on the other one, I'm going to do some curly sort of, because this is a chick. Oh, we've got so many baby swallows in our barn this year. I think we might have about 12 babies at the moment, because we've got 3 families in there and they've all fledged at the same time. The weather's been so good, so warm, so dry, they've just gone crazy. And I think this is our third lot of babies. It's incredible. So if we had 3 lots of 12, that's 36. So our 6 babies, 6 mums and dads turned into 36 chicks. It's incredible. Okay, now I'm going to find my white. And we'll put some white dots on this nice dark green. I do like that. That's one of my favourite things. And then I'm going to put some white flowers on her body, which you can't see very well, but that's kind of nice and subtle, if you know what I mean. And then I just want to use all of my different pens, you know. We'll go for gold, and I'm going to put some gold up here on these flowers and on these ones down here, of course, because they're the same. And on here, I'm going to put some feathers, I think, some sort of feathery shapes. Just like that. And I had forgotten to colour in the hill. So I think we'll do that in, or shall we do that in a light greeny? That brush is not good enough for this. What do we want? Something neutralish, sort of yellow, dry grass. There we are. I could have a little sunshine up here too. Right, so that's that. So when that's done and dry, you'll be able to pop that in the post, and that will make someone smile, especially a little girl. So I think we've come to the end of what I wanted to share with you today. So we've got our card, and we've got our, where's it gone? That's the one, isn't it? No, that's not the one. Here it is. We've got our thing. Oh, yes. And finally, not to be forgotten, our leaves that we did earlier. Now, this is interesting, actually, because you look at that, and I can see that in a painting of some flowers, a nice bouquet or just an abstract kind of thing. And I think that would be wonderful. And you can also have some really good fun with your Kuretake Fudenosuke black marker, and you can go round these in the thick and thin way that I do enjoy so much. Thick and thin lines galore. And you can turn your leaves into something quite dramatic. It's just fun. I like the way the stem has gone patchy like that. And you can do your lines inside. You don't have to go, you know, deathly carefully around the edge of your wonderful loose liquidy kind of leaves, but you can just go inside, or you can go outside if you feel that they've turned out a little bit small. You can go outside to make them bigger. So there's nothing quite like this. This is such a creative experience. Don't forget me, he says. And of course, if you want to, this is where you can go ahead and start adding dots and things like that if that's what takes your fancy. Or you can just keep it looking relatively realistic, okay? So that's that. That was my starting point for today. And I quite enjoyed that. And yeah, I put that up on the wall in a gallery and sell it for £5 million if I was certain people. So there we are. I'm going to let you go. I'm going to go and have lunch. And if I can find the other thing. Where's it gone again? It keeps hiding from me. That's not it, is it? Yes, it is. There we are. There we are. So I'll let you go. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to go over to our website and you can get sketches of these and others as well, to make your life a little bit easier if you're not totally convinced about your drawing skills. But really, honestly, I think if you gave it a try, you'd probably find that you can manage it yourself. But there's lots of other stuff there that's more complicated too that you might want to download. And you can become a member of our channel, you can do that too, but I wanted to say you can become a member of our website and get your sketches for free if you go and purchase the one-off payment of $5 for an insider pass, which will give you privilege of 10 free sketches a month. And that's the way we do it. So I'll let you go and I'll see you again soon. So I'll say bye-bye for now, everybody. Bye-bye.